Hello everyone, my name is ShadowRock, and today we're here to talk about Mega Man X DiVE, or Rockman X DiVE as we currently know it. I'm here with many guests today. First we have TGP.
Hello.
Hero Azure.
What's going on, everyone?
And our special guest, Ash Paulsen from GameXplain.
Hello there, always happy to be here.
Glad to have you. And our other special guest, LBD Nytetrayn from the Mega Man Network.
Yo, what's up?
Doing great, man. So, it got announced last week. Apparently, it's this free-to-play mobile game that is sort of a crossover between all the X games because some game bugs are pretty much messing with the data, and the player is tasked with getting rid of the bugs to fix everything. And there's also full playable characters, just like a regular Mega Man X game, and you can even use a controller with the game. I just wanted to come in and talk about this mobile game, talk about our feelings on the existence of it, and also what we've seen so far. Let's actually go around and just talk about it a little bit. So let's start with you, Ash. How do you feel on the game so far from what we've seen?
You know, I'm thinking it's looking really promising. I'm not a huge mobile gamer. I mainly play rhythm games on mobile because there's some really great ones out there. You know, it's certainly not platformers, but I have played the Sonic mobile ports, both Sonic 1 and 2, but done by Christian Whitehead's team, and they are phenomenal, and they made me a believer in the possibility, at least, of touch controls working, because those touch controls are great. Now, as we know, the previous Mega Man ports to mobile have not had good, well, not good touch controls, really not good anything. So Capcom Taiwan has a lot to prove here, but from what I've seen, it's looking really promising, and, you know, I know people are really upset. It's a mobile game, it's not a console game, and I do think it's a little strange that it's not also coming to Switch, because it seems so perfectly fit for that. But I know, you know, Capcom Taiwan I know their share in the mobile market there isn't great, so this seems to be what this is positioned as, to kind of grab some of that market share, and you know, I'm just happy that we actually have a new Mega Man X game announced. I know it being a mobile game kind of takes the wind out of the sails for some fans, but not me. This is proof of life for X and friends, and that's good enough for me, because I am feeling very good about the series' future after 11 sales and everything, and this just proves that, you know, Capcom has not forgotten about X either.
Absolutely, and all the people out there that are like, oh my god, a mobile game, Mega Man X DiVE is never coming out. No.
That is the dumbest argument, and I'm not calling those people dumb. I don't mean to, like, you know, cast dispersions or anything, but that argument does not hold water. This is Capcom Taiwan. They're going for a completely different segment of the market. This isn't Capcom Japan. They're not. Capcom Japan isn't making this. So for all we know, they still are making X9, which I do still fully believe is coming.
Me too. And oh man, it's like I said, Capcom Japan's making the next Mega Man game. They said it started pre-production or something like that early this year, so that's still coming. I think this mobile game is really just there to sort of hold the gap. It's pretty much a gap stop between now and the next game while they're making it.
And I will say, you know, I mean, Bluetooth controllers, USB, you know, they're all widely available now for various mobile devices, not just iPhone, not just Android. So, you know, if you're the kind of person, like probably most of us in this discussion, who's, you know, really going to want to play with a, you know, legit controller, it's not that hard or expensive to do that these days. So I really don't think there's a lot to complain about. I know it's not exactly what everyone wants, not even what we want, but it's also not that far off from what we would want. It's really just the platform. I mean, can you imagine if Rockman X DiVE had been announced for the Switch? We would all be the same exact game, same exact stuff, but we would all be so much more excited, and the fans would be so much more excited. So it really is just the platform that I think have people tripping up.
I do hope it comes to Switch or Steam at some point, but yeah. Definitely. Anyways, LBD, do you want to tell us how you feel?
Well, for starters, I think Ash forgot to mention Sonic CD. That was what kind of kicked off the whole Sonic thing on Whitehead.
Yeah.
And that's the one that also got the home ports, and unfortunately the other two never did.
I did play the Sonic CD port on Xbox 360. Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah. The Capcom Mega Man ones, I mean, none of them were great. Do you remember that Mega Man version of Mega Man X, though? It didn't even have, like, the fully scrolling screens, if I remember correctly.
Man.
It was like that Super Mario Brothers that was on, like, Hudson made for, what was it, MSX or something?
Right.
Oh.
Yeah, and it's like... But the one thing that I do seem to recall about that is the controls weren't the problem. I don't know, maybe I just know the game well enough that I was able to compensate, but I don't remember the controls being, like, really the issue. It was just other stuff, but... With this, as noted, though, it's got, like, real controller support, so it's, like a quote-unquote real game, so that's a plus.
Definitely.
And, yeah, people are kind of, how do I put this? I don't know, just... the way they're getting up in arms over it, it's basically like a game for another market. It's... Technically speaking, I think it's not for us, in a manner of speaking. We're just going to be lucky enough to get it if we want it. And to think that that kind of project would replace X9 is just...
Yeah.
Hey, who here owns a jumping to conclusions mat, right?
Yeah. It's still funny to me how people are still upset over the 8-year hiatus where they had Rockman crossover, it died, and then Mega Man just wasn't really a thing until recently with Mega Man 11, but people are still salty about that. They won't let it go.
Oh, that's probably going to last for the rest of our lives.
Probably.
Just knowing how fandoms can be about things.
Oh, yeah. Gotta love gamer entitlement. It's everywhere these days. And people don't forget grudges, so... Or gamers, I should say. Don't forget grudges and what they feel they're owed. So, yeah, that will be around for the rest of our lives.
Beast Wars ruined Transformers forever!
You ruined my... this new Ninja Turtles version's ruining my childhood. No, it's not.
Sonic and Sally forever!
Yeah.
That's funny.
That one I'll go... that one I'll stand for. Sonic and Sally forever indeed. She's the only girlfriend for Sonic as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, I didn't know that I was going to be igniting a powder keg in here.
Right?
Sounds like Maverick talk to me.
My bad. But yeah, I have a feeling Capcom's not living that one down in our lifetimes.
Nope.
Nah.
But yeah, as far as this goes, I mean, hopefully it'll make it to like at least the Switch. It looks like it'd be good enough as a download thing, but then again, Capcom has been like amazingly poor at, ironically, at porting their games, like, from one platform to another platform where it might do well. Case in point, Powered Up and Maverick Hunter X. There were other companies like looking at PSP and stuff and saying, well, I mean, it's close enough to the PlayStation 2, and at least that has an install base. Let's move it over there. Capcom never did.
Yeah.
Square Enix, those Final Fantasy IV mobile games, like them, love them, or hate them, those got released on WiiWare. How about those Rockman Dash mobile games that, played fairly similar to the original games? Nope. It's just... So, I wouldn't hold my breath on this one.
Yeah, for sure. Like, we here at the channel, we love Mega Man Maverick Hunter X and Powered Up, and the fact that they didn't come out on anything besides the PSP really hurt it. We wish we could play it on anything other than the PSP, honestly.
You could buy them on PS Store, and you couldn't even play them on the PS3 without the PS TV attachment.
Yeah, I remember that. I honestly, I don't know if I will ever fully get over my heartbreak over Maverick Hunter X and Mega Man Powered Up selling so badly that we didn't get the planned, full remakes of both entire series.
I know, right?
To the day I die, I think I'm still going to regret that we never got those.
They were going to remake X6.
And maybe actually make it a good game and make X5's ending make a little more sense in terms of like what's actually going on there with Wily.
From what I heard, the plan was to go through X6, but I always hoped that that if it did carry through, that plan would change and they would remake X7 and just make it a 2D game that
I'd be down for that.
Makes sense and plays well and has proper characterization and things like that.
So make it a good game.
Basically,
yeah, basically make it everything that X7 wasn't. Right the wrongs.
Pretty much.
X7 is the one blemish, as you guys mostly know. X is my favorite character of all time, and X7 is his one blemish that Zero fans always point out. They always have to go, well, X was so whiny in X7. Yeah, we know. X7 was crappy in every way. That's because of X7, not because of X.
X7, what are you talking about?
Music was
The music was,
really.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, X's voice actor even, it's just, like, he read, like, the word robot and stopped there when going over the character description.
Stop it!
I kind of felt bad for Axel because of the fact that that was his introduction, and this is how you introduce him.
Yeah.
That was, like, an amazing time in, like, long-standing franchises, because this was the same time that, like, Metal Gear Solid 2 put Snake in the background in favor of Raiden, who, well, he managed to redeem himself at least a bit later. Sonic 06, like, just a short time after with Silver, and then Axel is, like, the Mega Man version of that.
That's true, and it's a shame about Axel, because I feel as though if he had been introduced the way he was and sounded in X8, I think he would have caught on a lot more quickly and with a lot more fans, because he's awesome in X8, and Command Mission, actually. It's just X7.
It would have just been nice if they put more emphasis on his abilities rather than, oh, here's some very not required tediums that you can go through in order to get an armor upgrade, or a couple Reploids. And even the copy ability wasn't, I can throw rocks.
Yeah, if it was more like ZX Advent, where you could actually become the bosses and fight as them, that would be so much better.
That would be cool.
You know what, that hypothetical Maverick Hunter X7 that, God help us, will probably never happen in our lifetimes.
Yeah.
What I would do there is Axel is not playable. X takes his normal role alongside Zero. Axel, you know, they kind of hint at what he can do, that kind of thing. You get the vague outlines. Basically, he'd be sort of like the way Zero was in the first couple of games. He's that character who, like, you know, maybe you want to play as him, but you can't, and then, like, you know, do it, like, as an alternate Vile mode kind of thing. Have him, like, reveal his, like, you know, whole ability at the end, if you remember how that plays out.
Oh, yeah.
Just kind of keep him out of the bulk of the core game and focus it on X and Zero. That's what I would do if I was remaking it.
I'm just glad that in X8 he got another part of it was that he got a voice that wasn't interminably annoying, and he actually sounded pretty cool. So I'm like, man, they did you dirty in X7 alongside X, but X8, you know, I thought X8 was probably the best characterization of every character in that series, every main character in that series. Yet
I think
X's characterization was perfect.
I think I was lucky because I was introduced to Axel through X8, through Command Mission, not X7. I didn't play that until a lot later. So, to me, Axel has always been, he's there, he's a cool character, cool guy. And then I played X7, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is how they introduced him?
You're lucky,
then.
Yeah.
I loved how he played in X8, and, I mean, in that hypothetical Maverick Hunter X7, that's how I'd want him to play there. But I love just the rapid-fire kind of base/Contra style kind of shooting going on.
Right.
Love it. And the special weapons he gets.
Well, I'm really hoping that they maintain all of these positive characterizations in Dive, because it sounds as though there's going to be at least something of a story component to this game. So I'm hoping that, you know, we get the versions of these characters that we have grown to love, and not some really off character, like for example, X in that Tengen game. I love the alternate style art for a spin-off game, and he looks super cool for a spin-off, but from what I've read of the story, they completely mischaracterize him. And so it's...
Isn't it called Teppen or something?
It's Tengen, right? Is that Is that get it wrong? Teppen. Sorry, Teppen.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I just hope that they don't screw that part up, the characterizations of these heroes that we know and love.
Yeah, the Teppen X is very interesting to me because he's got the halo going on, and the story sounds a lot like he woke up after the Maverick Wars. Maybe this is the beginning of his L4 adventures. That's what it feels like to me, reading the story.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
It just reads as kind of like an alternate timeline X to me, where the things that happened to him in the games didn't happen to him in whatever version of X this is, and he just kind of has a different existence and a different personality. But I do love the addition of the halo, because it kind of reminds me of the real X from the Zero series, which I always thought was a super cool, you know, because he's basically like this Jesus figure, and I love that they did that to X, and it kind of reminded me of that. It was cool.
X. X? Why does everyone like this guy?
Nice.
If I can rewind the conversation for a second, just one other thing about X7 is, and it's just kind of funny, Lucas Gilbertson and Johnny Young Bosch love their portrayals of Zero, but just given the timing and everything, the first time I heard Zero in X7, I just laughed my butt off, because he's got this like kind of faux Solid Snake thing going on, and then I don't remember when or how it happened, I can't... Like, Mega Man Zero came out before that, right?
Right.
I believe so, yes.
Yeah.
Well, somehow, I think it was with Zero too, now that I think about it, but I just started reading Mega Man Zero, like, X-Zero will be like Gilbertson or Bosch or whoever, but when I'm reading, like, Mega Man Zero's dialogue with Zero, it's the X7 voice, and it's just, I don't know, somehow it just makes everything so much better. Especially when you look at the, like, you know, disparity between how he looks versus how he sounds in such a case.
I can actually see that.
I love when we call that voice Microsoft Zero.
Right. I mean, I think a more talented, more practiced version of X70's voice. I actually hear what you're saying, man. I think that makes sense for that incarnation of the character. So
I know, doesn't it?
Maybe not that exact voice, but a more practiced, more professional version of that voice. I think, yeah, actually, I can see that.
It's simultaneously cool and hilarious at the same time.
Yeah.
Just this, like, little cherub-looking version of Zero with, like, what's going on here? Just...
Yeah.
I can't believe I'm back in this place again.
Yeah. As far as Dive's story goes, well, I'm hoping they nail the characterization, because right now the story does absolutely nothing for me, and I've never been so glad that I just kind of stopped taking the overall Mega Man X story so seriously than I am, like, reading the description for this.
ShadowRock and I are really hoping that there's some, multiplayer is all but confirmed, but we're hoping that there's some character banter between the two, like, say you have Vile and X on screen at the same time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
If you get good characterization, that can, like, you know, trump, like, you know, poorly done story, you know, as long as the characters feel like themselves, it's possible.
Well, yeah, and I think as a mobile game, they're probably not focused on this being a major chapter of the Mega Man X saga anyway, so I do think that if and when we get X9, I still think, like, there will be a reason at that point, hopefully, to take the series story or the overall narrative seriously again. But I was never looking at this as a mobile game hoping that we'll get the next big chunk of Mega Man X lore. I don't think we're going to get any of that. But what we have so far is essentially a retelling or just a copy of Mega Man Extreme story. It's basically just that. So I do think it would be a really cool bit of continuity. They'll never do this, but it would be really cool if they somehow worked, like, oh, Middy's somehow back and he's, you know, trying to fix these bugs, and Techno is somehow back and he's causing problems again, although he was redeemed at the end of Extreme, so that probably would make sense. But, you know, that would be pretty cool if they did that.
This seems like on another level. It's, like, so meta, like, referring to, like, it referred to them as, like, you know, the games, and, like, you know, like, you're the player, and, like, you know, you've been pulled into the world or whatever, and it's like, what? Okay.
Yep.
How does it play? Does it play well? If it plays well, I'll roll with it.
I've seen some comparisons to Extreme 3, of course, with the story, but also people are looking at this like the Mega Man Online we never got.
Which, yeah.
Oh, that one had an interesting story.
Yeah, it did.
I'll never forget the first time I saw that trailer. It was a very intriguing scenario, the way that animated trailer for Rockman Online.
So good.
Shame we never really got it, but you know, I do think there's potential here for an interesting scenario that even if they don't go really story heavy on it, you know, we're going to get the characters interacting again that we haven't seen interact for a long time, like X and Cinnamon, or, you know, Zero and Marino. Like, we haven't seen these characters in so long, and it's going to be cool seeing these people interact again, or these, you know, various Reploids, androids, whatever you want to, you know, call all these characters.
Sorry, we talking about Dive or Online?
I was talking about Dive.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I
agree. I really see this as more of a fan servicey crossover game. We're gonna have a lot of people's favorite characters coming back together in a game. You can actually play at them as well. It's pretty epic, actually, because, you know, in the past we've only played as X-Zero, Axel, Vile, but now we have Marino, Cinnamon, And Elia's also been playable before, but she was like a copy of X pretty much, which makes me wonder how she would work in Dive. But yeah, like just having all these other characters going to be playable for the first time, that's going to be very exciting.
I really hope they feel distinct.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do too.
It seems like so far, every character will have a main weapon, a sub-weapon, like X has the X-Buster and the Z-Saber. And you can have a bunch of other different weapons, like Zero has a Gatling gun.
Oh yeah.
Stuff like that. It's very weird. I'm thinking they're designing this in a way to where you can have any character you want, use any weapon you want, so that they can all be playable.
Oh, it'll be like that Mega Man X Command Mission figure where he's got Marino's weapons for reasons.
Yeah. I think that would definitely be possible in the game.
Jazzware slip in Capcom Taiwan a little of that, fat cash to validate their decision.
Yep, right. And I think like all the characters, so far we have X, Zero, Axel, Elia, Marino, Cinnamon, Vile, Command Mission X, and also Ultimate Armor X. I think they'll all come with their own standard kits, but otherwise you probably will be able to mix and match weapons, which is very interesting.
I mean, they got me at 3 different versions of X and counting. Like, they didn't even need any other characters for me. I'm like, oh man, I get 3 different versions of X. I'm in. They got me.
Right?
And you know what? Even I know there's, so far as we know, there will not be a focus on microtransactions, or at least not a large focus on them. But
it's free to play.
As much as you're free to play. So I gotta say, I don't buy. I don't spend money on mobile games pretty much ever.
Yeah.
That said, if they do a gacha thing where I have to spend a little money to maybe get 3 different versions of X, they got me. I'll do it. I'm that much of a fanboy.
You're their Duff McWhalen.
It's very interesting because some of us here have been talking to Proto Dude, and he's been saying this game is not going to have gacha, or very little of it at least. And I'm like, wow, because you think this will be the game to do gacha with, but I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, how cool would that be if there really was no gacha, no microtransactions, and every like a legit traditional video game, everything is unlockable within the game. Every character, that would be so cool.
Right.
I'd be okay with something like, say, additional, like, if they're well done, additional costumes or just stuff like that. So you can get, like, say, you can play as Teppen X, or I could play as X8 Vile, or just whatever you can think of. Quicksilver, Iron Maiden.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
Iron
true.
Maiden?
That would be really cool. Yeah.
That's Cinnamon's hyper mode.
Oh, right. That. Okay, sorry. I was thinking like
I forgot
character
about that,
named
yeah.
Iron Maiden.
Another way I could see them doing microtransactions is with the weapons. Like, you have a level 1 Gatling gun, but in order to earn the other, like a higher version of it, you gotta spend something or beat this boss many times. I don't know, something like that. Something like a card system.
Make it
Or you
grindy
can-
and just spending money forwards you to the
Yeah.
line. Now here's a
They
here's a
gotta make money
question.
somehow.
We know that Alia is playable. We know command mission characters are playable. I wonder if Nana will be playable.
Possibility.
Maybe she could truck
right.
around in that giant chair and just like crush people or something.
Right. Do you guys think Layer and Palette will join Alia as being playable?
I hope so.
I think so.
Perhaps.
Yeah. It
think
makes
it-
sense.
See, what Proto told me, or he told all of us actually, is that apparently they're looking at the entire Mega Man catalog for characters, so seems like, from the sounds of things, pretty much everybody is a possibility.
I want to play as Sigma.
Me too, actually. He'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Like, at least the first 3 Sigmas. After that,
Yeah.
it gets a little abstract.
I'd like to play as a Colonel. I think playing as Colonel would be really cool.
I want to play as General.
I know, giant, yeah.
Oh my god.
Just a pair of
They take up the
feet
entire screen.
rocketing across the screen and stomping people.
Oh my god. A rainy turtleoid. he just spins around the room. Oh my god.
Man, yeah. Oh, well, you gotta have Flame Heinard in there who you can play as with his original sound, his original voice clips.
I
Gotta
agree.
have that.
That's
the
where they'll
ultimate
make their money.
character, though.
To shut them up.
Right?
The
You have to
ultimate,
pay for the mute function.
yeah. But the best character would be Green Biker Dude.
I would be legit hyped for that, just because what a cool way to acknowledge that meme among the Mega Man community. That'd be a really fun thing if they did that.
Rip GBD, more like welcome GBD.
Right? That would be great.
Oh, man. What other characters you guys would like to see?
Oh goodness.
I mean, God, we've named all the usual suspects,
Dynamo.
plus some of the unusual ones.
Spider.
Dynamo, yeah.
Yeah. I love.
I never liked Dynamo.
Oh, this is supposed to be multiplayer, right? Or was it? Am I thinking of something else?
It's all but confirmed at this point. Like,
okay.
There's been hints at it, but we don't know for sure yet.
Okay, so finally make that, like, Dynamo Alia pairing happen.
Yeah.
Is that a pairing? I didn't know that.
Yeah, Dynamo,
Somebody
like, dropped
said.
a line, like, back in X5, like, about Cute Navigator or something like that, and, like, people just jumped on it.
That. Oh, jeez. I always thought X and Alia were more of a ship thing than Dynamo and Alia.
Mm-hmm.
If you get one little line, that's all it takes to set the ship, let the ship sail.
I actually never liked Dynamo at all. I never understood the appeal of his character. He didn't seem to really have much going on with the overall. I mean, he was basically just hired by Sigma to be annoying, and that's exactly what he was. He didn't have any more importance than that.
He was discount gray hair Vile.
He's your...
Yeah, actually.
Yeah, he's your standard, like, mook of the game. You had your, X-Hunters, you had your Nightmare Police, you had, Double, he's the next in line for that.
Yeah. See, I liked
Double
all of
at least looked cool.
Yeah, like, I liked Double. I thought the Nightmare, the Bit and Bite were cool. I liked the X-Hunters. Like, they all... I didn't dislike them the way I do Dynamo. I don't get it. But then again, I don't really like Gate either, or Hymax, or any of that nonsense from X6. X5 is like, I love the way it was meant to be like the original ending, because I remember when I first finished it, and I was like, oh, there cannot possibly be another Mega Man X game. Like, this feels like a really solid ending, a sad ending, like
Zero
melancholy, but an ending, and it felt final. And of course, then X6 happened, and I was like, wow, I guess I was wrong. And then later found out, no, it really was supposed to be the final one. And that's when it started kind of going off the rails for me. Like, X5 was a good ending, but the rest of the story just kind of didn't do it as much for me, with like Dynamo and then X6. You had all these other villains like Gate, and they just weren't well developed. They weren't interesting.
Honestly, I really liked X6's story. It would have been a nice epilogue, capstone kind of thing for the series, especially if they just let Sigma die there.
Yeah,
and that like one little bit of dialogue change at the end, and it's like, they could have like just put him to rest, but no, he has to keep coming back because that's the thing. And I mean, we were talking about taking the story seriously earlier, and I swear, after X8, if, like, X9 has Sigma, it's like,
I hope not. I really hope X9 doesn't have Sigma. What I want to see X9 deal with is, what the hell did Lumine do to Axel when he shattered his head crystal? Like, my dream headcanon is that X9, like, you can play as Axel, but ultimately the game takes you away from him because he becomes corrupted
Just
from Lumine's attack.
What you're saying.
It becomes the final boss. I want that so much. Not because I hate Axel, just to be sad.
As soon as they do that, Sigma's gonna become A-Tran. He's gonna A-Trans into Sigma, just to spit in our faces.
Oh my god.
He is. Damn it, you're right.
Well, you know what? I can take that, because, like, it seems like he'd be okay later, unless, like, they do decide to completely ignore Command Mission. But it's...
I mean, Command Mission isn't really canon. It's like its own timeline from X7, I believe.
So someone said, and I mean, really, I think it's less up to them than it is up to whoever's making the next game or doing something with it. I mean, you remember, like, the Four Guardians, like, how they survived X3 until they... Or, sorry, 03, until they decided to do 04, and it's all of a sudden like, oh yeah, they're dead after all. They didn't really watch, stuff go down.
Yeah, I never liked that kind of the way they changed that. Yeah.
Or wait, actually, I think it was for 04, but like, yeah, they showed them like hanging out with X, and like, after the satellite thing, Ragnarok or whatever, at the end of 04, and it was like, oh yeah, they're still around, and then they do ZX, and it's like, oh no, they weren't. So right. I mean, yeah, it's pretty much like, only goes valid as far as the next game until somebody says otherwise.
And it's frankly impossible to believe that X and the Guardians would not... I mean, X, maybe he couldn't. Maybe he really, he had spent all his power, because that really made 03's ending really impactful, as far as I'm concerned. But I cannot believe that the Four Guardians, if they survived, would not have stepped in to help Zero literally prevent the end of the world, and from Dr. Whale, scorching Area Zero. Like, they would not have not stepped in. That does not make sense.
I like to think they were, doing good elsewhere.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I thought they were depicted as cyber elves in some sort of artwork.
I think X was, but I don't think the others were, unless we're talking about, after that. If we're talking about the same piece.
Might have been fan art that I saw, but I thought I saw something of that relation.
And yeah, one thing out of the Zero series I wish they'd done. Well, first of all, before I get into that, I'm just gonna say it would be great. I think Protodude mentioned some Battle Network possible crossover in Dive. How awesome would it be to have Zero characters in Dive as well? The Four Guardians and Zero himself.
Yeah, that's something he hinted at, that he teased 2 unannounced features. The first one, we're just gonna assume it's multiplayer. The second one, he's saying that there would be some kind of feature that would bring together all the Mega Man, your favorite Mega Man is what he said. So yeah, I could definitely see an EXE crossover for that Battle Network mobile game coming out next year, or Classic, Legends, stuff like that.
I was not aware that we were able to talk about that Battle Network mobile game, are we?
No, he hinted at it months ago.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool.
I just talk about whatever Protodude does. If he says it
fair enough.
online, I don't care. I'll talk about it.
I didn't catch that tweet. I didn't realize he'd already teased it on Twitter.
Yeah,
that
happened a while ago. Before we even knew Rockman X DiVE existed.
Oh, okay. Very, very cool.
Back to what I was saying before, though, with 03, I was really hoping that X would pass the mantle, the title of Mega Man, onto Zero, thus kind of retroactively making him a Mega Man, as it were. Which I kind of feel like ZX did in a way, the way the biometals are, and they make people who are Mega Men, and it's just... That was one thing that always bugged me, was the disparity between the title and Zero just being Zero throughout.
Well, does X even know he's a Mega Man? Basically no one, other than, the mistranslated X2 and such, they don't really... No one ever refers to him as Mega Man X. I don't even know if he knows of his own legacy.
Dr. Light does, Maverick Hunter X.
Dr. Light?
Not to mention the schematics in the at the beginning of the first game.
But people always say Maverick Hunter X isn't canon.
Yeah, Maverick Hunter X isn't canon, and would X know of his own legacy? That's the thing. I don't even know if X is aware that he's, the next step in the Mega Man legacy. How would he know?
Depends on if he remembers what happened, several years ago when he was with Dr. Light. If, Dr. Light told him anything during that time... Maybe, but...
The question of Maverick Hunter X, they even included the Day of Sigma on, the collection thing. I can't believe that, none of it is, canon. I imagine some things line up, others don't, Dr. Kane, obviously. But, other stuff, you kind of have to imagine there's, some kind of, some of it lining up there.
That's true. Well, and let's assume that Maverick Hunter X, the way it kind of rewrote X1 story is canon, is the new canon, that's fine. Would, even if he remembers Dr. Light saying Mega Man X, would he even know the context of what that means? Would he even be oh, Mega Man, oh yeah, I'm the successor to this amazing hero 100 years... I don't think he'd even know about that, what it even means in context.
I would hope he could at least friggin' Google it.
That's true, Google,
yeah, that's true.
Dr. Light, Mega Man. Oh, hey, that robot looks kind of like me. And that looks like the guy in the hologram who made me. I must be a Mega Man.
That does bring to mind, though, how exciting it would actually be to have, be able to cross over and play as X and Mega Man in the same stage, multiplayer. That is such a cool idea.
Protodude did say they're looking at the whole Mega Man catalog, so apparently crossovers are a thing. That's cool.
Yeah, no, I'm all for it. I love, especially because, again, I don't think this is meant to be canon. I think this is just meant to be a little side project, mobile thing, and that we're not meant to take it seriously as fans in terms of the narrative.
Yeah, so I was going to throw that out there. I don't think that, come X9, I don't think there's going to be a single mention of this, or X10, or X11, or X22, or 033, or whatever.
Yeah.
Honestly speaking, I don't think there's really gonna be any story. We'll probably just get the premise of it. Oh, here's some game bugs, now clear it out. And you're just pretty much let go to play the game, but there probably won't be much story there. Maybe there'll be banter, we're hoping, but I don't necessarily expect that either.
It's hey, just Captain N, you're in Mega Man X's world now. Go be a hero. There's your story.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
Here's what they'll do, because we were just talking about how the one thing we don't want from X9 is for Sigma to come back, because that was an impactful death. It was meaningful for him to die finally. What they'll do, that's how he'll come back. He'll come back through the past.
When he died, his meaningful death was an X3. His meaningful death was an X6. By the time of X8, it's just like, go already!
Yeah, but that's what they'll do. I mean, I'm kidding, of course, but what if they did make DiVE canon and DiVE served as the vehicle for Sigma to come through one of those bugs and come back from the past, essentially, and now he's alive again for X9? Can you imagine if they did that?
Oh my god.
Not that they never will. That's not going to happen. But
I'd shut it all down.
You know, yeah.
That's it. I'm out. Yeah. I'm done. Thank you. It's been great.
Series is canceled.
On that note, actually, playing as Illuminate would be cool.
Playing as Illuminate would be cool.
Yeah.
I was
gonna throw that out there.
Will we be playing as Seraph Luminae or regular Luminae with the copied abilities?
Yes.
I say both. All the above, which now makes me want, Angel form copy X.
Yeah, play as Seraph Luminae and basically just, absorb shots until you're ready to, just kill everyone in one shot and end the game.
Yeah.
That actually would be kind of cool.
Paradise Lost!
As a mechanic.
I truly do believe there'll be a lot of costumes in terms of what they did, what they were, or even holiday costumes, I think, too.
Oh, I can see that.
I was gonna say, this game doesn't strike me as a cosmetic-only type of game as far as, any new outfits goes.
I think Command Mission X would have to be cosmetic, right?
Different colored scarves?
I mean, Command Mission X, and what's the difference between regular X and Command Mission X? What can Command Mission X do that regular X can't?
He can equip that hyper dash.
He has a cool scarf.
Crossfire. Get caught up in the crossfire.
Okay. I want Crossfire in the game.
I want Command Mission's ultimate armor in the game. The one where he's hovering around with the giant guns under each arm.
Yep. I want Absolute Zero in the game.
Oh yeah.
I could see all these making appearances, if there's some sort of overdrive move or super move that you can unleash every once in a while. Yeah. I could totally see those making appearances, as those super moves.
No, just let me be a walking screen nuke. That's all I need.
Exactly.
Cooldown is overrated.
They're just
Ultimate Armor X, it's not that far gone. I'm just wondering if they're going to follow suit for other characters or if they're going to keep a limit on that. Because at this point, I compare it to Street Fighter, where we have 5 characters that do the exact same thing. Fireball, Uppercut, Tatsu. Next!
I don't know what Ultimate Alien would bring to the table.
One thing that would be cool,
longer.
It would only be good for the hardest core of fans, but imagine if they made playable the uncreated, kind of canceled 4th X Hunter, the female X Hunter from X2. That, because there was originally going to be 4 X Hunters, and there was going to be a female member, and she got cut.
Man.
And then they kind of repurposed the thing behind that for that X-Kai, was it? The True Force figure?
You're right! Yeah,
I didn't remember the female part, but I remember that they said, okay, you want a 4th X Hunter? Here's a 4th X Hunter.
Oh, right, because there was one that was meant to I think... Oh, yeah, because I thought I remember them saying there's supposed to be a female member, but I also know what you're talking about, so yeah, I don't know. But either way, having that cut 4th X Hunter reappear as playable would be a really neat Easter egg, if there was ever an official design even created.
Here's one for you. A little bit of a deep cut, unless you go way back. Ix.
Nice. Do you think, though, that's not really part of the main canon. So, although that doesn't really matter in this case,
I was going to say, this isn't part of the main canon.
No, that's true. Yeah, good point. No, X would be cool, yeah.
If they're taking from all over, then why not?
I was thinking they could totally bring in stuff from non-canon sources, like
Ruby Spears Mega Man.
We're going to have Dylan the Maverick Hunter.
I'd buy that, actually.
Mega Mission or Giga Mission they're making now.
Yeah.
They can do stuff like that.
The thing where, Rush and Beat turn into a motorcycle and then form his armor.
Yeah,
that's a thing now.
Yeah, right.
In terms of bosses, it's very interesting because so far we've only seen a handful of stages, like X1 stages, like Central Highway, Armor Armadillo stages, Flame Mammoth stage. But the only bosses we've seen are the intro bosses from X2 and X3. So it's where's the Mavericks at?
You play as them.
And
It could potentially be where they're kind of more generalized, and then maybe a few parts here and there they'll have like a specific boss. Maybe it'll be an original boss for Dive. Who knows? That's also a possibility.
yeah.
Maybe we'll see him down the line, because they did mention, I think Jamatsu mentioned it, that when you defeat a boss, you get their weapon, just like regular X Fair. So hopefully we will see the Maverick sooner or later.
I wonder if it'll be a... Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I think I know who's behind it all, and it's not who you would expect, but it's like hiding in plain sight. The final boss is going to be...
It's you!
Dive Man.
Nice.
Oh, God.
That would be pretty great, I'm not going to lie.
Seriously, why the heck are they calling this Dive? Is it like deep dive, like a deep cut or something? Is
Or
that
like
what they're
maybe
looking
diving
at?
into the network.
Yeah,
Diving into the data of the network. Oh, yeah, that kind of thing.
You're diving
into a new game.
You're diving into the freaking the fan service.
Yeah, like I said,
Diving
like
head.
deep cuts, deep dives, that kind of thing. Maybe that's it. And it's like, okay, is that kind of gonna translate over if they like, you know, bring it over? Like, would they keep calling it Dive? Is that a name that's going to sell over here?
Mm-hmm. It's
I don't
Mega
know.
Man X. I don't know.
Well, it's up to them to make it seem interesting, because they
Yeah.
could do it if they want to sell it.
I mean, you know, I'm trying to think of, like, you know, the different changes they've made, like, you know, bringing games over. There's the obvious Rockman to Mega Man. Beyond that, let's see. There was Rockman Dash, Dig Outers Adventure Story, and Halcyon Days. Let's see. Rockman EXE became Mega Man Battle Network. ZX stayed the same. Let's see. Rockman X Cyber Mission and Soul Eraser became Extreme.
Right.
Let's see. Irregular Hunter X became Mega Man Maverick Hunter X, because I don't even think they used Rockman in the title of that in Japan, did they?
They use, I think they still called it a regular hunter.
Yeah, it was like Irregular Hunter
Yeah.
X, but I don't think they had Mega Man or Rockman like prefacing
No.
it like here.
No.
And then
I think they added that, yeah.
And then Rockman became Mega Man Powered Up. So
Right.
yeah,
What they should do is confuse everybody and call it Mega Man X Cyber Mission here, which has nothing to do with Rockman X Cyber Mission. They should do that, or
could.
even better, Mega Man X Battle Network. There you go. Really confuse
jeez.
people.
womp womp.
That is.
Oh, and I
very
forgot
cheap.
Star Force. That was something I can't remember at the moment.
Which is that's one of the few
my
instances
God.
you mentioned that I actually was kind of sad. I thought Shooting Star Mega Man sounded so cool.
Yeah.
And I was hoping they'd keep that Shooting Star, thing, but they didn't. Star Force just sounded like a Power Rangers,
It
knockoff.
does.
It really
Yeah.
does.
Yeah.
It literally does. I mean, there have been so
Yeah.
many Power Rangers forces. You can't argue that. But of course, I loved it for that reason. And I mean, it kind of works with this whole Henshin thing. So
It does.
Yeah.
It does.
They could call it Mega Man X Network Transmission. Oh my god.
Oh God, you're right.
oh wow.
Speaking of Star Force, though, that is a series that's underrepresented in general in the fandom and in the series, and doesn't get a lot of love because of the way it was kind of positioned in the series relative to like how things were releasing, and it didn't get good until 3, and by that time it was too late. So I think it would be cool to see some Star Force characters playable here, like let's get to Harp Note. How cool would it be to play as Harp Note in a Mega Man X game? Like, what the hell?
Right?
That'd be cool.
But to play as any of the other series characters in the X series would be pretty wild in itself.
Yeah.
I forget, does
Solo,
Hard Note,
yeah.
hit things with her guitar? Like El Kabong?
I can't remember if she actually physically does.
I don't think she does.
she does.
She
I don't
uses
know.
her
think
strings.
physically.
And if she doesn't, I
Yeah.
want it to happen anyway. So
It's possible.
Kabong!
It has to do the twang.
Right.
Here's a topic for y'all. So we've seen in the footage so far that there'll be a cooldown system for the weapons. Like, there's 50 ammo for the X-Buster. Use some of that, and then over time it recharges. Do you feel like that will really hurt the game's flow of gameplay, or you think it'll be fine? I personally think it'll be fine, because like looking closer at it, it seems like it'll recharge pretty fast, so I don't think it'd be a problem. I think they're really encouraging you to swap weapons constantly, so
Exactly.
you're not like focusing on one weapon at a time.
That also kind of tells me the levels won't be too big.
Probably not.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, for the last, 30 years or so, it's been 3 shots on the screen at once, so 50 sounds like an upgrade to me, but...
It's like you can only use 50 lemons and then you have to wait for it to recharge. Or I've seen that if he uses 5 or 6 bullets, if he waits a little bit, it will just start reloading on its own. So
yeah,
it doesn't seem
and that
bad.
makes sense.
Yeah,
I think it is that it's being done that way to encourage weapon changing. And again, because this is kind of a side project, not meant to necessarily emulate the main mechanics of the main series. But I think as long as the X-Buster or Z-Saber or whatever your standard weapon is recharges, relatively quickly enough, then I don't think it'll ever feel too restrictive, and I do think it'll, accomplish that potential goal of really, really encouraging you to switch between weapons and not just use the X-Buster or whatever your default weapon is.
I've also... go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, an interesting thing is that new Contra Rogue Core that was debuted at E3. Apparently that's also got a cooldown system, which is very kind of what as far as Contra goes. But my understanding is maybe that's kind of a similar purpose there, but people weren't taking to it very well there, so I don't know.
Yeah,
I actually played that at E3. That was my final appointment of the show. Not the best way to end E3.
Oh dear.
I can tell you that. I'll say this: it wasn't as bad as I was expecting it would be going in and seeing the Nintendo Direct trailer. I was like, this is going to be ghastly, and it was just okay. It wasn't horrible. It just wasn't something that any Contra fan would want to play. I don't think it's just not what Contra fans want. So what Contra fans want actually is Blazing Chrome, which just came out and is way more a Contra game than the actual new Contra game coming up. But I digress.
I want to review it because then I'll at least get paid for playing it. But otherwise, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So how did the cooldown there, since that's what kind of led us into that, how did that? How did you feel about that there?
It worked in the context of that game. It never felt too restrictive, and it actually did encourage me to experiment with different weapons and try different loadouts every stage. And I definitely found my favorites. But the more powerful weapons obviously had longer cooldown and were very restrictive in how many shots you could fire before they overheated. But it really did encourage me to go try all the different ones and really find my favorite. It's just a shame that the game around this system isn't better. But yeah, I think this kind of system can work for Mega Man X. I really am not concerned about that.
I actually don't mind them encouraging you to say switch between the X-Buster and the Z-Saber, and it seems like everybody can use the Z-Saber with the same level of expertise because now everybody can do the pizza cutter slash and stuff. That's really wild.
I wonder if it would be possible to equip 2 different say X-Busters. Fire a few with the left hand, fire a few with the right hand, fire a few with the left, a few with the right.
Oh, I don't know, but there is a Z-Buster, so I guess you could switch between X and Z-Buster.
And I bet they'll have different busters for, unless they put every armor form for X in the game as a fully playable character, which I don't think they're going to do. I could totally see them bringing the buster, the specific busters from each armor as equipable weapons, so that you get the double charge shot from X2 or the cross shot from X3, for example, or X4's stock shot. I could see them totally doing that.
I can't imagine them not bringing every form of X into the game. That's where your money is.
I mean, hey, if they do.
I have many questions when it comes to switching weapons between characters. Use Vile as a obvious example. He's got grenades, he's got rocket punches, he's got different kinds of shoulder cannons, he's got Vulcans. It's how does that translate to every other character? Should we assume those are interchangeable?
I'm gonna also assume that characters will have exclusives.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. We've already
had to recharge because you fired. So you had an allotted amount of weapon energy, and every time you fired something, it used a little bit. So it's you're -7 or -10 or however much. And if you can't pay the cost, you can't fire.
Okay.
Yeah.
I see. And it didn't recharge on its own over time?
It's constantly recharging.
Yeah.
Okay.
Always recharging.
So then it actually is kind of a cooldown system in a way. So we've seen this kind of work, not only in a Mega Man game, but a Mega Man X game. So, I'm really not concerned
in a little bit
about
of a different capacity, is where you had 32 max ammunition at any given time. Whereas in this, you have, I guess it is pretty much the same, but this is always recharging. It's not like you have to wait for it to recharge or you're having a break But Vile can't just be like, okay, I kept firing the Vulcan, so I'll switch to the shoulder cannon or a grenade. It's like, no, I'm using everything right there. Right there.
Yeah, that's right. It was all like a shared pool of weapon energy, wasn't it?
Yep.
Okay,
yeah.
right.
It was all one bar.
Wow. But now, in this game, every weapon will have their own cooldown separately, so...
Right.
If anything, that is better, especially comparing it to how they handled it with Vile, is that allows you to just keep going. You just switch it up, use something else.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know, back to what I was saying about 2X Busters before. Man, wouldn't it be awesome to, like, dual-wield Z-Sabers?
Oh, man.
That could be cool, yeah.
Get all Leonardo up in here.
Be interesting if we can interchange weapons with the characters. I can't wait to see Cinnamon with the Gatling gun and the Z-Saber just spinning around.
Right.
Did you see that picture I shared where it's like Zero using Cinnamon as a Gatling gun?
Yeah, I think I did.
That'd be
Pretty
neat.
funny. Oh, another feature that's new to this well, it's not really new to this game because it was an X7 prior, but we have the auto lock-on feature, which was very controversial when we first heard about it because people were like, oh, it's gonna make the game too easy. But then they came back and said, oh, you can turn it off. So now people are fine with that.
Anybody who thinks it's gonna make the game too easy never played X7.
Yeah,
I have a mixed opinion on that, whereas there's certain things where it's just like the lock-on would be nice to have, but then there are definitely times where you want it off.
Yeah, I see it more of a hindrance than an actual beneficial thing. Because most of the time when it comes to auto lock on anything, you can't target a piece of part, like say you want to target the head. Auto lock on most of the time goes for the chest. You kind of have to fight it in order to go for the head. But most of the time you just want to turn it off and just do it yourself.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
The main problem, as I saw it, with X7s was, like, the main hindrance that I had with it was when they had a 3D game that was pretending to be a 2D game. And since this is a 2D game, I'm hoping the system, like, is kind of more tailor-made for it.
Yeah.
I think it will be. I don't think it's gonna... I don't think they're ever going to make a game as bad as X7 again, and I can only assume that this lock-on system isn't going to be just directly lifted from that game. I'm sure it's got to be optimized for this game. There's no way anyone at Capcom thinks X7 is worth pulling anything on.
That actually brings up a question of mine, is how is that going to work with Axel? Because I feel like the lock-on feature itself kind of invalidates the fact that he can aim in 8 directions.
True.
Maybe his A-Trans would be his main thing, or...
Oh, I figured
I don't
that,
know.
but it's just, like, that was kind of his thing, the fact that he can shoot in 6 more directions than the other 2.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
Now
I think he could
everybody
go
can
full
do it.
360, but...
I wonder what Cinnamon's weapon will be. Will she just
Kind of,
slap people?
Her little kitty cat claw things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really, and I guess I really hope this isn't what ends up happening, but I guess there is a chance that these characters could, in essence, be mainly skins, in the sense that they all play exactly the same with their interchangeable weapons, and it's just who you're playing as visually and voice-wise, and I really hope they don't go that route.
It seems like, at least to me so far, at least most characters have their own kit. Like, we've seen Marno already with her beam chakram and the kunais.
I forgot about that. Yes, we have. Okay, so that's good then. Yeah.
I kind of feel like
Auto plays Massimo.
every character will be like, they'll have a unique aspect to them, but they'll be generalized, I believe. Like, they're gonna have like a blueprint, and they're gonna go with that. And of course, like Zero does his Z-Saber, so maybe they'll have a melee-oriented type thing. Or as Vile, he's more of a ranged character, so there'll be like a ranged blueprint of some sort. That's what I feel like they're gonna do with
That
these
was another
characters.
thought. If, like, you have Cinnamon, who's a healer in Command Mission, and then you have Marno, who's a thief, it's like, I thought that there was gonna be more than, well, say there is more than 2 people allotted for multiplayer. I was wondering if there was gonna be drops. Or just, like, different jobs that characters can perform.
Pretty neat.
I figured it'd be more like, strength, speed, endurance, that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we've seen the character select screen already. We've seen some parameters, like each character have their own stats. So there is that, and there's some abilities you can unlock. By the way, Another way they're going to differentiate it is every character gets their own like special moves that have a cooldown as well. Like X has his charge shot, Zero has the Rakuha ability from X4, and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's another way they just kind of make the characters different from each other.
I do love the idea if they ever actually did implement X's armors as their own separate playable characters. I love the idea of a character select screen where the first 12 slots are just X. and then you've got 3 zeros and then the rest of the characters.
Vile staring angrily in the corner of the screen.
Right, 2 vials. You gotta have at least Vile V in there too.
Yeah, I want to play as Vile Mark, what was it, 2?
Oh yeah, from X3. Yeah.
Yeah.
They should have all 3 forms of Vile in there. He's Vile,
And then
so of
Vile
course they
V
should.
or Mark T or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Anybody else want to play as Cygnus?
Sure. Why not?
Why not? I
Never
mean,
kind of
he's not like my
I want to see
first.
what he's got going on.
I want to play as Lifesaver. No, I don't. I'm kidding. Completely.
Oh my god.
Douglas for Smash.
Delton 2-player.
Yeah.
There'd be a special move for X where he calls on the lifesavers.
Right.
The
Zero, come with me.
I was saying before that I want to play as Massimo, but that kind of gave me an idea because I nearly said I want to play as Maximo, and then I thought, wait a minute, that would actually be pretty awesome. Any other Capcom
geez.
characters you guys would want to play as in this?
Hero would want Dante probably.
Oh, totally Amaterasu. I want Ami playable in anything, because Okami is my second favorite game of all time. So, I would just love to see, the sun goddess in the form of a wolf running through a Mega Man X stage doing whatever she could possibly do in an X game. That would be really weird, but I would be here for it.
Hey,
Okay, if we're going totally off the wall, Phoenix Wright, let's do it.
Nice.
I wouldn't mind that.
I was just thinking,
probably
Featuring Dante from the Devil May Cry series.
Beautiful Joe. I was just thinking though, with Amaterasu, if they had Velgotter playable, they could probably modify that for animation or whatever, and
That's true.
2 for 1.
Yeah, they could do that, actually, yeah. There's just so many possibilities. We know so little about the game, and yet we do know the overarching mechanics and kind of what to expect, but not the specifics, and that's what makes it so exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and they could also use Rush X. It's this idea is just printing money for them.
Nice.
Actually, what are you guys' favorite little Easter eggs you've seen so far from the game? For me personally, I just love how that concept art from X4 where X is just flying on top of the Ultimate armor like a jet hoverboard. He's totally doing that in that character select screen in that video, and it's so cool to finally see that finally animated in an official game.
I don't know if you'll actually be able to do that.
Dude.
It's probably just an animation, but just the fact that they had that little nod really lifts my spirits for what's actually possible.
Right.
It really just tells me that Proto was saying himself that the people working on this game are true Mega Man X fans.
Yeah.
After seeing stuff like that, I believe it. They were really going hard on the references and the Easter eggs and everything else, and I can't wait to see what else is in this game.
Yeah.
They had to reach for that one.
I'm trying to think of what other Easter eggs I've seen, but I'm just kind of blanking at, outside of, the more obvious stuff. But maybe to me they just feel obvious,
Yeah.
I kind of feel like these guys are really pressuring to making a really, really good Mega Man game here, because the fact that it's a mobile, that's already at a disadvantage because so many people have that huge distaste for mobile, and the fact that there just hasn't been a next game in such a long time, and it's going on a mobile, it's got such a huge disadvantage, and people are like, this better be good, type of thing. So I honestly do feel like with them adding all these nods, I think they really want to get people to actually like it, and they're hoping for that.
Yeah.
100%.
And if this game does take off, that only means that we'll have more Mega Man fans coming on board, and that can only mean good stuff for this series.
Indeed.
Yeah. 100%.
Oh man, you know who'd be awesome? I mentioned Ruby Spears Mega Man earlier. Ruby Spears X. Just
Oh, God.
every
I'd
shot
buy
clears the screen and moves in these flashes and just
Stop it, you're gonna bring down the whole Central Highway.
If he ended up being a premium character, I'd buy him.
I actually think it would be really cool to be able to play as either the standard form of Copy X or Cyber, or like real X, from like X in a Mega Man Zero style design, because I always really wanted to see what, like, officially what X would look like as a sprite in the Zero series, like just X, not Jesus X, who's awesome in his own right, but just X as if he were to take up the mantle once again and fight alongside Zero in that series. I just always thought that idea always held a lot of appeal to me, and Copy X is really the closest we ever got in his standard form. So I think playing as Copy X would be really cool, especially with his elemental armor and stuff.
Yeah, I can see that. What do you guys think about, because this is really a crossover game, what do you think about Iris coming back? That would be so weird, right?
Oh, hell yeah. And every time you lose a life, you gotta have Zero going, Iris! every single time.
But if she comes back, what are we fighting for? Oh, you already beat me.
Right.
Boo.
We're fighting for our wallets.
We're fighting for Christmas, Iris.
I don't know, could Iris use her, like, big mech form?
Oh yeah, she could fight in the mech form.
That would be
if
really
she was
cool.
a character.
That'd probably be her ultimate,
Yeah.
I would think.
No, I'd be super down for that.
Or just, like, do, like, a ballet spin and, like, those, like, Buster-looking barrels, like, at the end of her skirt, just kind of, like, shoot shots everywhere.
It's just gonna turn into Peach's Final Smash.
There's just so many deep cuts they could really, really make for the hardcore fans who've been following the series since the first game. I mean, like, really, really deep cuts. And I just think, there's so many possibilities here that who knows what they'll do.
That's really the exciting thing about the game, is just the possibilities. Now that you have the entire X cast and possibly more beyond the X series, on the table pretty much. I just want to see what they're going to do here.
I really hope it does well enough that they can, like, realize their plans in full, because it'd be such a shame if they had to kind of cut things short because, there wasn't enough support and they couldn't, justify the expenditure.
This is going to come down to the reception to this game, because, a lot of people right now are up in arms because it's a mobile game and where's X9? But, people need to understand that just because this mobile game exists does not mean X9 is not happening.
They have to look at how Capcom's looking at it. They're not looking at, oh, this game failed. They'll look at Mega Man failed.
Yeah.
Not to mention
I don't know if they will, though, just because they have proven sales now with Mega Man 11, which they said they are happy with, as well as the collection. So I don't know if they actually will look at it like that at this point.
Well, the thing is, this game isn't even a reaction to the sales, because Purdue was saying that this game's been in development for 1.5 years, so that would put it around the time Mega Man 11 was announced for the first time.
You're right.
Yeah.
And as far as Capcom saying stuff, well, they've said lots of stuff, so...
Yeah. I don't know. I think... I don't know. I mean, I can't back this up with any, like, empirical data, but it just feels like Mega Man is an important brand to Capcom again, and that we don't really need to prove it to them anymore. I think 11 did prove it, and I think 11, alongside the collections, all that at once really proved it, especially on Switch. I don't know. I just get the sense that we're past that horrifically bad, dead zone now, where we didn't know what to look forward to, if anything. Now I feel like we can look forward to the future again, whatever that takes.
We touched on a while ago on Twitter about how some of the fan bases can be a little toxic, and especially the X fan base, in my experience. Just some of those X fans just won't let it go until X9 comes out. That's all they want. That's all they ever talk about, really.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, it's. I know there are a lot of people who, there are a lot of fans who feel that we're owed X9. People felt, screwed over by Legends 3, that we're still owed that. And it's like, no, we're not owed anything. Capcom only owes things to their shareholders, unfortunately, which is how all businesses go, all game developers. At the end of the day, they just got to keep their people employed and make their shareholders happy. They don't owe anything to us as much as we would love to have our, exactly what we want. It just doesn't work that way.
My personal favorite is, like, why are they making all these toys instead of, like, X9 or Mega Man 11 or whatever? And it's like, do you really want, like, the guys who, like, mold action figures to be, like, coding your next game? And so the amount of people who were like, yes! Like, was actually staggeringly surprising to me.
Yeah, it seems like lately, they've always kind of done it, but especially lately, they're really pushing the nostalgia, for the X and the Battle Network series with the merchandise over on the Japanese side of things. So that definitely tells me that Battle Network game, mobile game, has to be real as well.
Yeah. I think at this point we can pretty much assume it is, which that's going to be its own really exciting thing that we'll want to discuss when that happens.
Probably next year.
I think that's the game that's going to be really gotcha.
Yeah. I've been reading the comments online about Rockman X DiVE versus Battle Network mobile game when Purdue teased it, and it seems like people are more interested in the Battle Network mobile game because they feel that would work better for mobile, which I would agree. So yeah.
I mean, we've practically got like our own pets in our pockets now.
Pretty much.
Yeah, I was actually going to
devices.
say the possibilities with this Battle Network mobile game. Like, I feel like they might be able to finally realize what Battle Network wanted to be, but the tech just wasn't there yet. And the tech is there now, and we can actually really have this wireless community of people who want to net battle and all this stuff because the technology's here now. Same with the Switch. Imagine if they did do Battle Network 7 for the Switch, and now you really can play online, and you can really do it. You don't need to do Brother Band and all that nonsense. You can just play. There's an online community of net battlers. Like, that would be the realization of the in-game world that Battle Network constructed. I'm not going to go. I would still want there to be a campaign. I want there to be a story to it. But there's also a multiplayer mode, like a separate multiplayer mode thing.
There would definitely
be more like a JRPG at that point with multiplayer.
Yeah,
basically, like just Battle Network as we know it, with a an online multiplayer component. Yeah,
they might change some things. Like, dare I say, they might change it to be more like Battleship Challenge.
Oh man.
I've always wanted there to be like different MMOs, like on different Mega Man series, like, see everybody's navies and stuff instead of like, just the generic stuff like in Battle Network, or people being either pirates or diggers in a Legends MMO, or do X and like, where like, you're a Maverick Hunter or whatever that isn't X or Zero and fighting somebody who isn't Sigma.
Right. Man, there's something we haven't even discussed. Legends characters, or the possibility of Legends characters, and I mean, how cool.
Diesel's out.
Oh man, yeah, he sure is, isn't he? But I mean, it was just so cool to play as Tron or Trigger, or it's just like I'd love that idea. Like, again, deep cuts, that Iris, or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. So far, it sounds like it would just be the other Mega Man, which would also still be cool. But yeah, I don't know what's going to happen with that. Purdue was saying that this is going to be a very evolving game. They're going to add stuff down the line, so we're probably just going to have to wait and see.
I will buy a Bluetooth controller for this, absolutely.
Yeah,
I do second that having Tron in would be amazing, just hitting things with Gustav.
Yeah, I was just about to say, if they've got like robot ride armor mechanics in this, then like, you're practically set for Tron.
You're going to say something, TGP?
Yeah, I was saying that, I had a brain fart. Ooh.
Do you smell it?
It'll come to me. It'll come back.
I guess in the meantime, there's one more thing I wanted to talk about, and that is stages. So, like I said, we have Central Highway, Armor Armadillo, and Flame Mammoth stages confirmed. And I would think, since this game is based off the Maverick Hunter X engine, we're probably going to see the vast majority of the X1 stages in this game. But what other stages would you like to see besides that? I know Predator came up with the example of you could play as Cinnamon in X-Force in an X-Force stage. But other than that, we haven't seen the X-Force stage yet, so I don't know. But what do you guys would like to see?
Sky Lagoon with a working sky.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Zero stage.
X4 is kind of what I'm looking at. Like, I think, like Sky Lagoon would be great. I mean, pretty much any stage from X4, to be honest. But I'd also like to see some X2 stuff, because I really thought that game had strong level design, like, and just interesting environments. Yeah, right. What that or Crystal Snail stage or Overdrive Ostrich, like those, they all felt like really cool settings.
Oh man.
And I think that I'd like to see some X2 stages for sure.
Yeah,
that's
Overdrive
right. We only got the
Ostrich,
one desert stage, didn't we?
I guess that's true in the end, which is really weird when you think about it.
I guess so. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
But I guess in Overdrive Ostrich's stage, there could be a mission where you're riding that ride chaser and just shooting enemies.
I was gonna say, like, would they actually be like an auto-scrolling ride chasing stage?
I doubt
Not
it.
if they're smart.
I don't think so.
We've already seen a trailer with Zero on top of a truck in the Central Highway, and it seemed like it would be an auto-scrolling stage where you're just beating bad guys up.
It's probably a segment. Like, say, Grizzly Slash, for lack of a better example. Or no, Slash Beast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All Slash
No,
Beast,
that
yeah.
wasn't an auto-scroller, though.
Oh, no.
Neither
I don't
of
think
those
either
were.
of them were.
No, that was
No,
bad
you're probably
examples.
thinking of Jet Stingray.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no.
it's the ones where you're like riding something or
Yeah.
other, and those are always ugh.
Yeah.
I just want to see these stages from the other games in a 3D environment. That'd be so cool. Because so far, with the stages we've seen, they're pretty much reusing Maverick Hunter X assets. I want to see some new stuff. You know?
Oh
Yeah, me too. And I think I would like to see some X7 and X8, environments and bosses repurposed for a 2D context. I don't know if they'll do it because they certainly didn't for X Challenge, which
Yeah.
I don't blame them for not doing that because
Right.
that would have been a lot of effort for what is essentially a re-release. But I would like to maybe see them do it here. Like X7 and X6. Well, X7 was a terrible game, but it had some decent Maverick designs. Not every Maverick, but some of them were
Yeah.
pretty good. And I'd
Later.
like to see them in
It had a lot
2D.
of ambition.
Yeah.
It'd probably be easier to port those 3D stages over to something like this than like making them like from the ground up.
Because if they do X2, X3, the 2D stages, they would have to rebuild them.
Yeah.
That's true, yeah. Which, I mean, but it does really seem like there's a lot going into this game. Like a pretty decent budget,
Yeah.
a long shelf life in terms of new content, and as we've said, or as Protodude has said, the developers are Mega Man fans, and they really want to prove themselves with this. And we saw what happened the last time that was the case at Capcom Japan. That was Mega Man 11, and it turned out to be great. So,
Yeah.
it excites me that they're having a team of genuine Mega Man fans within, a branch of Capcom make this game, as opposed to just let's just have these people make a Mega Man X game and try it and see if it does well, and people who don't really get what the series is about. So, honestly, I really do have high hopes for this game. Even though it's mobile, I'm gonna get a controller. I think it's gonna be pretty good.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to enjoying it. I mean, the price is right, if nothing else.
Right. Exactly.
Especially if you see those crossover things. This could be the Rockman, like the game that Rockman crossover should have been.
Right. Exactly.
That's going to be wild.
It seems small, but I can't wait for this game to come out just to hear the music.
I know.
Me too.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm
I
kind
can't
of...
wait.
We've already heard a remix of the title screen theme, but I am a little worried at the fact that I went on the website and you can turn on music. It's just the Central Highway stage theme for Maverick Hunter X again. Maybe they're just holding it back, but that just makes me think, are they really going to remix them, or is just that a placeholder?
Man, I could see them see a completely new soundtrack not being within the scope of this project, only because,
Yeah.
I don't know how many mobile games are known for their music, and I'm a huge video game music fan, but, I don't hear a lot of people talk about a lot of mobile games for their soundtracks, so
True.
I don't know if that would be a focus for this.
True,
I hope it would
yeah.
be, but I
I'd
don't know.
say at least personally for me, the only game that would really stand out for its music is Dragalia Lost.
That's a good point, yeah. And, of course, rhythm games, but again, you don't really listen, you don't
Yeah.
play a rhythm game on mobile specifically to listen to the soundtrack, but also to play it.
So I was just thinking, I've got a couple of concerns about this game.
Go ahead.
Well, one is, I really do hope maybe it'll come to Switch and other stuff, because, I'm kind of worried about how long it'll last. Even if it's a success, with the way iPhone and stuff moves on, and things like that, I'd like there to be some way to be able to play this, down the line.
That's true.
Yeah.
Which ties into my other concern, which is I really hope that it doesn't require an online connection, because it's like, if I'm going on the subway or something, I like to be able to play games, and yeah, guess what? The signal doesn't reach down there, fellas. The one time I could be spending all my time with your game, you're shutting me out.
I
Thanks.
imagine it's going to have solo play. I really doubt multiplayer is going to be the focus of this.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean,
think-
lots of single-player games, they'll require an online connection just because mobile developers seem to think that's a good idea for some reason, so...
Well, a lot of them
would-
also base it on you having an in-game currency or something like that, something I don't exactly see this game having.
I think
because they always have like some form of transaction or something tied to an in-game currency or alternative ways to get bonus content without having to explicitly pay for it.
I kind of see this game being like a stamina type thing where you can only do so much with the amount of stamina you have. And if you want to...
Dr. Mario World.
Yeah. Kind of like that.
Like, that's so far... Yeah. So far, this game's looking cool and all, but they have to make money somehow, so it's hard to figure out, like, what's the catch here?
Yeah, I do not believe at all that this game could seriously be released in a mobile context and not be designed to make money back in some way. I mean, it's a mobile game, and that it's okay, I get it. Again, businesses need to make money. Capcom is a business. You're trying to get a piece of that mobile pie in Taiwan and other areas. I get it. But there, like you said, there has to be a catch. Something is going to monetize this game. And it may be very lightly monetized. Like, I was actually really surprised. I did a preview a couple of weeks ago for GameXplain of Pokemon Masters. And they explained the monetization to me during my preview appointment. And it's actually very slightly monetized. Like, they're not monetizing the whole game. It's just for new sync pairs, like new Pokemon and trainer pairs. And that's it. It's the only thing you can buy. All leveling up Pokemon, evolving, teaching them new moves, that all happens with in-game currency that you can only get in-game. You can't buy it. So, you know, they could lightly monetize this where you can power up your characters, but you only pay for new characters.
And yeah, if they do it that way, it wouldn't be like you're running the game, because especially if the multiplayer is co-op, it really wouldn't ruin the experience for others. It wouldn't be pay to win per se, because you're mostly playing by yourself, so it doesn't matter if you're overpowered. That's just how you want to play.
Yeah, see, the thing is, as well, you also have to consider, is this game going to be PvP or PvE? Because that makes a huge difference in whether or not a player base would be happy.
I just want Vile to have friendly fire. That's all I
I
want.
don't know, it would be PV anything. I thought it would be co-op.
Because if it's PvP, then you have to consider the meta. You have to consider, I gotta do this.
As far as I understand, I don't think it'll be PvP.
Yeah,
this game's
co-op.
looking to be more PvE, which is, I think, better in my opinion. It's like,
I agree.
You can be as powerful as you like. You can wail for whatever you want, but at the very end of the day, everybody's gonna get to the same point at some point.
Yep.
I agree.
I mean, they can also do the cosmetics and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, we're in summer. Of course, it's gonna be cosmetics.
True.
I wonder if we're gonna get that swimsuit Vile picture we saw on Twitter the other day.
Oh, gee. Yeah, like, and actually, that's what I was going to say. Like, if they do that, which they might, and that's fine, like, you know, seasonal costumes, keep, like, Mega Man what it is. Like, it's not, Mega Man isn't known for its overt sexualization, right? Like, yeah, Alia, like, you could argue maybe a little bit, but, like, I really hope they don't... Oh, okay, fair enough. I did forget about Command Mission. I don't often consider that's true. That's fair. But like in general, the franchise isn't known for its overt sexualization of the female characters and even the male ones. And I really hope they don't do stuff like swimsuit Alia. And that would just, I feel like that would undermine the vibe of the series so much. It isn't about that.
It's like,
they already have, so...
Well, this isn't Fire Emblem,
this
for
is
God's
true.
sakes.
We did get the thanks for
That's
playing
true, the arts.
for normal mode on X Challenge.
It's
I was just thinking across
that.
Yeah.
Across that and the Fire Emblem Heroes, like swimsuit costumes, like, you know, they're doing all now, and...
It's happening.
I completely forgot about that. Thanks for playing
gonna
picture.
Happen. It's definitely gonna happen. Now, whether or not it'll be like over the top or just right, that's completely up to them. Honestly, as long as they find the right balance, I think it's perfectly fine. The same thing with the monetization too. As long as, you know, like putting pop-ups in my face every 5 seconds. Hey, buy this, please.
Yeah.
You know, I'll be fine. Like,
I'm just wondering how this is going to shake out, because if there is a stamina system, I don't know how I'm going to feel about that. I might...
Well, I can tell you personally, Dragalia Lost has a stamina system, and it's fine.
It's gonna hurt our content.
I know that...
gotta cover everything.
I mean...
Sega Hardlight, they've been doing some pretty good free-to-play stuff, too. I don't know that those use stamina so much, but...
Yeah, like, they give out the rewards like candies, like, oh, you you blinked, you get a thing of stamina. Congratulations, something like that.
Uh-huh.
Well, they incorporate ads in kind of a pretty good way where it's like, okay, like, you just got, like, 5 red rings. Would you like 10 red rings? Watch this ad. And it's like, okay, yeah, I'll spare 30 seconds to double it, sure.
Normally with these kind of mobile games, when they get it, like, more than just tap the screen and watch a ball go somewhere, they tend to be adless. They're probably going to give options to be like, oh, you want to refill your stamina? Well, here's a bunch of options. Oh, there's a thing of premium currency. Well, here's the many options you can get in. That I'm pretty sure that's how it's going to be, kind of. It's not going to be like where...
Listen to Colonel Sanders in a blue helmet talk about robot chickens for 30 seconds to get another half hour of play.
There you go. That'd be funny, but I don't see them going that way. Personally, I don't think so.
Unless they do an awesome tie-in where you can actually play as like a blue-clad Colonel Sanders.
If there is a stamina system, I guess that would make sense considering I've been analyzing the footage a lot, and it really does feel like the stages will be small. Maybe more like a Smash Brothers type deal where you teleport on this one stage and you beat up a bunch of bad guys and you're out. I'm hoping it's not like that. I kind of prefer the traditional stages since we have like those the controls going on. But
you mentioned Smash. Think Melee, the adventure mode. It'll be like a stage. A stage will be like that.
Oh, I could see that.
Kind of like that, yeah. Like where there'll be a stage, a boss, you beat the stage, and then you go on in whatever story they have. I think that's how it's going to be.
Hopefully not too many of those, like, enemy rooms that, like, X8 had.
That's
Mighty Number 9.
That's, like, my one big concern about the game remaining is it feels like there will be a lot of enemy rooms because you're watching the trailer. It's only a few seconds, of course, but you see a lot of them just going back and forth. Oh, this enemy just popped up out of nowhere. Kill that. Oh, there's an enemy on the right side. Go kill that, too.
Maybe they're just grinding.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe.
I just hope it's not like a beat 'em up, or I guess a shoot 'em up in this instance.
Or, it could just be the developers not wanting to show too much,
Yeah, which would be weird because it's like Central Highway. We've seen it 3 times.
Yeah, they're showing a lot of Central Highway, but I think that's just not wanting to show much right now.
Yeah, then they're going to keep it strictly intro stage, and maybe a stage or 2 here.
Oh, it would be a fantastic deep cut, speaking of Central Highway?
Okay.
White City.
Oh, man.
That would be super cool.
That would be a heck of a reference.
That would be, that really would be.
Oh, man. Another cool thing, control-wise, is people were pointing out in my video, one of the videos talking about how you could turn off the auto-lock, but people were noticing in that trailer that Zero was actually strafing, like just facing one side, and
right.
just moving
I noticed
backwards
that too.
And
I thought that was part of the auto-lock thing.
I did too, and I didn't think too much of it at first, but it even happens while you have it turned off, so it's like, oh, okay, you can strafe now. That's actually pretty interesting.
I mean, it does really change up what we normally think is possible in a Mega Man X game, gameplay-wise, from moment to moment. It definitely adds a new wrinkle to your strategy and how you approach different situations. I actually think it's a cool addition.
Me too. It adds a lot to it, actually, because before, you just point in one direction, you fire, you run.
Yeah, I'm keen to try it.
Yeah.
I remember Super Metroid had a moonwalk option, but it was like I never used it.
What would be really cool is, and not for this game necessarily, but if depending on, what form the series takes in the future, imagine them doing a 360-degree aiming thing like Samus could do in Metroid Samus Returns. We use the right stick to aim, the X-Buster or what have you, any direction you want to. And that's something specifically X can do. And then, in Axel, Zero wouldn't be able to do that same kind of thing, obviously, but I don't know, that'd be kind of cool, right?
Well, we could have the Gatling gun.
That's true. That's the way in this, in Dive specifically for sure. And I don't know. That could be cool. Like I could see 360-degree aiming working in a 2D context for Mega Man X, like it did for Metroid.
Now let's think about this for a second. Why not Zero? Why can't he aim what direction he slashes in?
Well, that's true. I guess it would be
the same exact.
What if he wants to
kill something right above him? Why can't you stab up?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I feel like
I think he already has good air coverage because it seems like anytime you're near,
I'm joking, but at the same time,
Yeah.
Well, you kind of wonder what you could do with that.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. And I mean, I guess this is technically something it wasn't done in the same way, but I guess, Axel kind of can do that already. But I don't know. I would like to see it implemented in the way that it was in Samus Returns, where you just hold a button or you use like a right stick or something.
I think it's possible because we already have auto lock and X is literally just aiming right at the enemy and firing a charge shot. So I think aiming could be a thing with the controller setup at least. Yeah.
What do you think the over/under is on Mac being playable?
That'd be awesome.
I'd be down. I don't probably not likely, but I think that would be a really cool deep cut if they did it.
I'm thinking back to the mid to late 90s when we barely had anything past X3, and so it's like every other fanfic out there had Mac as a prominent character because who else were you gonna have?
Right. Or maybe we just get a screen-filling God Car Machine Inari that you just play as, just stop everything in every stage. It's just towering over everything.
Hi Mac says easy mode.
Oof. Well, guys, only a couple more things really. I actually wanted to show this to you guys, but there's this item that someone found in the footage. It has this purple aura around it. We don't know what it is. It could be a heart tank, extra life, or I don't know, but it's just very interesting that there's this item here that has this darkness or purple aura going around it. I'm just thinking, what could that be?
Beware of the evil energy, Mega Man.
Well, the first thing I think of when I think of evil purple energy in a Mega Man X content is Awakened Zero or Nightmare Zero. Take your pick.
Yeah, I was thinking Maverick, virus or something.
Yeah,
virus.
Something to do with the virus, Sigma
Probably.
virus, or
Handle with care.
That's kind of, and maybe it's like a poison mushroom type thing that powers you down for temporarily, or maybe something like the virus mechanic in X5.
I guess the thing that gets me about it is the placement of it in the footage, because it's in this very isolated area away from where you would usually travel. You would have to basically wall climb down to get it. So I'm like,
Did you say you had a picture?
Yeah, let me get it real quick.
It'd be neat if this ended up becoming the surrogate Mega Man universe as far as other Capcom and other playable characters too. Especially if that customization thing comes through that was talked about. Build your own Ryu Arthur man.
I will say I kind of feel I don't know. I think personally I hope they just keep it to Mega Man. I don't know if I'd really want to, because we already have Teppen for stuff like that. I know it's not super exciting gameplay necessarily, but I don't know. I'd rather keep Mega Man X's the series identity, at least in the wider Mega Man franchise.
Dark Energon?
I mean, it was kind of weird to me when Mega Man Universe tried to do it. Oh, you can play as Ryu.
Yeah, I didn't like it back then. I wouldn't like it now.
You can play as this dinosaur mascot guy from something we've never heard of.
Rathlos.
Yeah, I'd rather keep it within Mega Man.
Honestly, I was kind of down for that. Okay, how about bad box art Mega Man, though? I think it's finally time for him to properly shine.
Oh, man.
Bad
He'll never die.
I'd pay for that.
They can keep that. They decided to put salt in the wound back when Street Fighter Cross Tekken came out. That can stay.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
you're right. We should get Man instead.
The only out-of-series, extra character I will accept in this game is Gunvolt, because he would slide right into the aesthetic, fit perfectly.
Don't give him any ideas. They might bring in Mighty Number 9.
I was going to say, there you go, ultimate characters Beck. There you go.
Oh,
hey, Mighty Gunvolt. Beck was great.
He was in Mighty Gunvolt Burst as well.
Yeah, sorry, that's the one I meant, actually, but yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
As long as he doesn't trip, I'll be fine.
Yeah.
You could play as a Zero fanboy featuring Inafune.
Oh, God.
But there's the item screenshot in the chat.
Yeah, you can't see any of that.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Is Dark Energon? What is that?
Yeah, the UI hides it, unfortunately, so it's really hard to make out.
Well, it would be interesting, depending on how traditional they go with this, if this is truly meant to be a traditional feeling Mega Man X game, if they actually do hide collectibles, if these are legit and they built stages with secret areas and you're supposed to explore, it would be really cool if there are secret pickups like heart tanks and sub tanks and armor pieces. Who knows if they'll go that far? It doesn't really seem like it would be that kind of format, but who knows? They might.
I guess they could do like Hyrule Warriors, where you have to collect the heart pieces for each of the characters.
That's true.
Yeah. I don't know. I can't wait to see what that is, though.
As long as there are enough heart pieces to go around to max out everybody's life bar, because I hated that in X8, where you had to like pick and choose. Or no, sorry, was it X7?
7, I think.
It's 6.
X5, X6.
X5,
That's
6,
right.
and 7 did that.
Yeah, that drove me crazy. It drove me. I was like,
I
no, I
know.
want to max out everybody.
It really bothers the completionist in me.
Yeah. Plus, I just like I don't like having to like switch between a moderately powered up X0 and Axel. I want to, I always end up focusing on one character, usually X because it's me, but I pretty much never spread out power-ups between the characters. I just focus on one.
Yeah.
Now, you brought up Hyrule Warriors, and it kind of occurs to me that in a lot of ways this game is sort of similar to that. Maybe not gameplay-wise, but in other ways. And Hyrule Warriors, that introduced some original characters. Think we're going to see any OCs here?
We've seen one.
I believe so, yes.
There's gonna be,
yeah, that's right. The
there's a
Silhouette Girl.
new navigator character.
Right.
We don't know her name or what she looks like because it's just a silhouette, but they're teasing a new character. She has a voice, too. You've heard a voice clip on the website. And, yeah. And I think she's also in the trailer, so.
I was thinking in terms of playables, but yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah,
think
get
so.
you.
I do believe there's going to be originals. They usually have 1 or 2 or 5.
This is Giga Man X. He's my original character. Do not steal. He's just like Mega Man X, except he's Giga instead of Mega.
Can
Well,
we get
actually,
Shadowrock
That
in
much
there?
cooler.
Oh, yeah, actually, there's a whole thing with there could be potential character creation at some point if they manage to
All
go
right.
with that.
All right, Proto did say that there would be create your own Reploid. Or at least that was an idea during development.
Right. Well, we saw how that went with Sonic and Sonic Forces, so let's maybe hope they don't do that.
Hey, don't go dissing my Sonic OC.
Oh man, I don't know if I kind of hope they eschew that. I don't really like the idea of a create your own Reploid type thing. I would rather keep it to the canonical characters.
Yeah.
I was really looking forward to Rockman Online because I would have made my first Mega Man fan character, like, canonical in a way, because they were basically using the same kind of idea I had behind it back then.
I guess create your own Reploid would make sense with the fact that it seems like at least that you'll be able to change out the loadout, weapon loadout of all that between the characters. So I guess that would mean your created character could use any weapon as well. So it could work out that way.
Mix and match parts.
Yup.
Now I just want to make a vile torso and head with Marino's legs.
Oh God.
Jesus.
Wowie zowie.
I guess we'll start to wrap it up here. One more thing, really. But apparently there's going to be one more thing. There's going to be some kind of D-Day event. They found it on the website code. There's an ad for D-Day on August 25th. And do you guys think that might be the beta day, a release date for the Asian markets, or something else?
At this point, it seems like beta would be the first thing they'd want to announce, but I don't know.
Yeah.
They already started talking about closed beta, so that could be it. And
That seems most likely.
yeah.
I'm actually, to be honest, I'm actually really, I know it's a different context in Japan, of course, but I'm shocked they called it D-Day. Because that's like, if you called it that here,
I know,
would,
right?
Like, that would not go over, like, that would be so extremely offensive. Like, that would not go over well here.
Yeah.
I think people are saying they think it's Dive Day, but still.
That's what it
D-Day?
means. It has to, but I'm just
Yeah.
like, damn, just call it Dive Day. Like, that was, again, the Japanese perspective is completely different, and that makes that irrelevant.
D-Day
But it's
means
just
nothing
like,
to them, but
right. But
Come
it's,
Taiwan,
man.
bringing that big D energy.
Right. Jeez.
Big dive energy.
Yeah.
oh my god. Yeah. If they do have a beta, I hope I can sign up for it.
If there's some way, yeah, for sure.
I know.
For us, unworthy Western players.
Probably VPN it, if
Because
possible.
from what Proto was telling me, it's definitely gonna come out in Asia first, and they already confirmed there'll be a global version, but Proto was saying that might not happen for a while because they have to localize it,
Yeah.
and then they have to beta test for the other regions, so that might be down the line.
Maybe I'll get lucky and this will be one of those times where Canada's a test region.
Right?
Hell, maybe X9 will have been announced by the time we actually get Dive over here.
That'd be fun.
With any luck.
Yeah.
Yeah, at the very least, an announcement, right? It's like, oh, X9's happening now, and then people won't be so angry over the mobile game, hopefully.
Oh, they still will be.
I know.
They'll find reasons to be angry. You know?
They're diverting resources from X9 for
exactly.
this.
Yeah.
This is taking
Capcom
time away from
Taiwan
X10.
was going to play such a major part in the, next generation cross-console.
Yeah.
This is taking time away from Legends 3.
I mean, if they're going to accuse, cartoon animation studios and, that work with Capcom or any other game or, people making action figures of it, then they'll accuse it of this, undoubtedly.
Right. It is, yeah. It's just unreal how little the people who complain and have those kinds of complaints, how little they understand about game development and how this all works. And it's just they have no idea. And it's like, man, you have no idea how ridiculous this stuff sounds to people who know how game development works.
It's like, read a book. I'm online! Yes, that's the point. I want you offline, but I still want you to learn.
Right.
Just Google it, man.
Audiobook.
See, that's online. That's they're still in our stratosphere or whatever.
Better than nothing.
Yeah. It's like the whole poke exit thing, which that name is ridiculous, but it's actually pretty good. But it's like,
it's kind of brilliant in a ridiculous kind of way.
Exactly. And it's like, I get it. I get why fans are upset, but at the same time, I completely get why Game Freak did it too. I completely think it makes sense, and that they can't render all these models every time. And I don't know. People complain about this dumbest things.
You're gonna write the comment section right now.
That is an entire discussion.
It is. Well, I shouldn't say about the dumbest things. I'm sorry. It is I agree. The National Dex being gone sucks, but I get why it is from a development standpoint, and I think that people who are harassing and raging against Game Freak, lazy devs, they have no idea what they're talking about in terms of what it would take.
I am a little surprised that Game Freak doesn't keep some group of artists on staff to just kind of keep the whole friggin' pantheon up to date, in terms of graphics and stuff in a way that they can use for assets for new projects, new games, new what have you and stuff. You would think there'd be I don't know, just to kind of keep things on top of that, but.
Mm-hmm.
Personally,
we want to do a new Pokemon fighting game? Okay, well here's our latest up-to-date assets.
In my opinion, where they truly messed up is you never tell your customer base, we have no plans to do this. Because that just says, you know what? I don't have to get this if that's your plan. Type of deal.
Well, and that's fair. That's the thing. If enough people vote with their wallets and don't buy Pokemon Sword and Shield, they'll have to course correct. That's how the free marketplace works. The rub is 90% of the people who are raging and complaining are going to buy Sword and Shield anyway.
Oh yeah, of course. It always ends up that way. Always.
Yeah.
I've dabbled in Pokemon before, but the first one I feel like I've really put myself into was Ultra Sun. So it's okay, it's up to you guys to keep me here.
That's rough.
Yeah, I would say because Ultra Sun's what really upset me. I was like, no. I didn't even sell the game back. I gave it to a friend. The game is good. I just don't like the fact that it's practically the same thing with a difference or two.
Well, my wife got it for me for Christmas because, Litten is the first, Pokemon that I've, really kind of, connected with, on a, okay, I am really into this Pokemon kind of way, so,
Yeah.
Where things go from there, guess we'll see. I'm not exactly a lifer, so, if it's not in Sword and Shield, then that's $60 saved, I guess, but,
right.
If it is, then, I'm set.
And that's the same can all be applied to Mega Man. People can complain all day about Rockman X DiVE, but they're all still going to buy X9, and but they'll still find something to complain about. Well, where's my Legends game? It's just it's always something. It's always going to be something. But I'm excited for this, and I think it's a cool little experiment, and I hope we're playing it within stateside or in the West within the next 5 years. It seems like it's going to be a long time.
That's a good note to end things off on. Real quick though, because I didn't ask, TGP and Hero You want to share your thoughts on the game real quick?
So when you told me that this game looked like it could have been and should have been on a console, I thought you were joking. You were not joking. I was like, oh my god, you're right. This could have 100% been on a console, but you know, hey, that's kind of their choice. I mean, either that or mobile gaming has advanced so much that it's just, wow, we have really gone this far, huh?
I know, right?
Deal.
Well, it's on a mobile platform that's pretending to be a console, like a Switch.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Is it wild that they're doing this partnership with Asus ROG 2, and apparently it's going to run Rockman X DiVE at 120 hertz. It's like, wow, that is completely unnecessary.
Completely.
But sure.
I mean, but I like that they're doing specials, like going out of their way for a new Mega Man X game. Like, that's actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
So, and again, I mean, it's so interesting that they, in the reveal trailer, promoted it with a controller attached to the phone. Like, they are basically saying, this is a Mega Man X game. It happens to be mobile, but we want you to play it like a standard Mega Man X game. That's what we're trying to make here. Yeah.
120 hertz, that's great. What's a hertz?
Frames per second, pretty much.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to laugh. I thought you were asking a rhetorical question, but yes, frames per second.
Yep.
120 frames per second? That's a thing.
Oh yeah.
That's the thing now. Now 60 is not good enough. Now it has to be 120.
No,
Like,
God, I can't wait to hear people whining about, like, oh, it's only 60 frames per second.
God forbid.
Like, what? Can your brain, how does your brain even do that?
It's like, oh, we got to
Who
see
are
things.
you?
We got to see things in 120 frames per second if you can even handle that. But
right. How about you, Hero?
I mean, you guys basically summarized everything I could have said about it. I have very high hopes. They've presented a lot and so little at the same time. I guess I sat up a little bit awaiting more information.
Yeah, same here. I can't wait to see what they'll do with even like just the references, the fan service and everything. But also, I just hope it's a good, nice playing game. Even with the microtransactions in the mix, I hope it'll be a fun game. And it looks like it will be, so I'm looking forward to more.
Absolutely.
Yep.
oh yes.
Well, that'll about do it for our Rockman X DiVE discussion. I want to thank everybody here for joining us. And Ash, where can they find you at?
So I can be found on Twitter at Ash Paulsen, which is just my name. It's ASHPAULSEN. You can also find me there on Instagram, and I am, of course, one of the GameXplain crew, so you won't find me on the channel quite as often as the other guys, because I have a full-time job that I do outside of it, but you will always find me on GameXplain, and go to my Twitter, and I always talk about video games and video game music and all that good stuff, so yeah.
And where they can find you at, LBD?
They can find me at, where can't they find me? Mega Man Network, can find me at Nintendo Force Magazine, can find me at Megavisions Magazine, Old School Gamer Magazine, and you can also find me at LBD_Nytetrayn on Twitter.
Alright. And for the rest of us here, you can find us on ShadowRockZX, youtube.com/user/ShadowRockZX. For all things Mega Man, stay tuned to that channel. And also you can follow me on Twitter at ShadowRockX, and Hero and THP, where they can find you at.
You can find me at Thy Gameplayer.
They can find me dwelling in the ShadowRockZX Discord server.
Woohoo!
Nice.
Yay, got Discord ad. Alright guys, until next time, rock on. Thank you for watching.
Peace out.
Catch you later.
Toodles.
Bye.